In this episode, we'll explore an early Buddhist teaching that looks closely at the kinds of practices we take on in life and what they lead to over time. The Buddha describes 4 ways of living, shaped by whether they feel pleasant or painful now, and whether they bring ease or difficulty later. It's a simple framework, but a deeply practical one. It speaks directly to everyday choices, how we relate to pleasure, effort, discipline, and restraint in work, family life, and our inner world. As you listen, you might gently notice where this teaching touches your own experience.
In this discourse, the Buddha is staying near the city of Savath, in Jeta's Grove, a monastery offered by the lay supporter Anathapindika. The setting is calm and familiar. The Buddha addresses a group of monks directly, calling their attention to a question that touches every human life, whether one is a monastic or a layperson, how we take on ways of living, and what those choices lead to over time. The Buddha explains that there are 4 ways people take on practices or lifestyles. By practice, he does not mean only formal meditation or religious discipline. He means the patterns we adopt, how we seek pleasure, how we avoid pain, how we restrain ourselves, or how we indulge ourselves. Each practice can be understood by 2 things: how it feels right now and what it leads to later. First, the Buddha speaks about a practice that feels pleasant in the present, but results in pain in the future. He describes people, contemplatives and religious wanderers, who hold the view that there is no danger in sensual pleasure. They believe that enjoyment itself carries no cost. Acting on this belief, they give themselves over to sensual indulgence, convincing themselves that the warnings of others are exaggerated or unnecessary. While indulging, a thought arises in their minds: what danger could there possibly be? The pleasure feels real, immediate, and harmless. The Buddha captures this mindset vividly. The present moment feels soft, comforting, and satisfying. Why should anyone give this up? But then the Buddha points to the consequence. When a life is guided by unexamined craving, that very craving becomes the cause of downfall. After death, he says, such a person is reborn in a painful state, experiencing intense suffering. Only then does recognition arise. This is the danger that wiser practitioners were pointing to. The pain is not random, it is the result of causes set in motion long before. To make this teaching clearer, the Buddha offers a powerful image. He asks the monks to imagine a great sal tree, strong and towering, with a deva, a tree spirit, living within it. One day, a seed from a maluva creeper falls at the base of the tree. The deva becomes afraid, sensing danger. Other devas gather to comfort her, saying that nothing will come of it. Perhaps a bird will eat the seed, or a deer will trample it, or a fire will burn it away. They reassure her that it is probably nothing at all. Time passes. None of those things happen. Rain falls, and the seed sprouts. The creeper grows slowly, winding its soft, tender tendrils around the sal tree. At first, the touch feels harmless, even pleasant. The deva thinks again, what danger did my friends foresee? This feels gentle, almost comforting. But the creeper keeps growing. It wraps around the trunk, spreads into the branches, and forms a heavy canopy. Eventually, the weight becomes too much. The great limbs of the sal tree snap and crash down. Only then does the deva understand. This is the danger they warned me about. The suffering comes not from a sudden blow, but from a small beginning that was ignored. The Buddha says that sensual indulgence works in the same way. What begins as a small, pleasant touch can, if unchecked, grow into something that overwhelms and destroys stability and clarity. This is what he calls a practice that is pleasant now, but painful later. Next, the Buddha turns to a second kind of practice, one that is painful in the present and painful in the future. Here, he describes extreme forms of asceticism. These are practices of self-torment, where a person believes that suffering itself is purifying or liberating. He lists many such practices: refusing ordinary food, eating only scraps or inedible substances, wearing rags or bark, exposing the body to cold and heat, pulling out one's own hair, sleeping on spikes, standing without sitting, bathing repeatedly. The list is long, but the point is simple. These practices cause pain here and now, and they are driven not by wisdom, but by rigid views and delusion. Because these practices are rooted in misunderstanding, they do not lead to freedom. Instead, they lead to continued suffering, even beyond this life. The Buddha is clear: tormenting the body for its own sake does not bring awakening. Pain alone is not purifying. Then the Buddha describes a third kind of practice, one that is painful in the present, but leads to pleasure in the future. This teaching is more subtle and more compassionate. He speaks of people who are strongly inclined toward passion, aversion, or confusion. These are people who feel desire intensely, who get angry easily, or who struggle with clarity and understanding. For such people, the path of ethical restraint, mindfulness, and wisdom can feel difficult. Letting go of old habits hurts. Resisting craving brings grief. Facing one's own confusion can feel overwhelming. The Buddha does not deny this pain. He acknowledges it directly. Some people practice while crying, while grieving, while feeling the sting of their own patterns. Yet, even while experiencing this pain, they continue to live the holy life fully and sincerely. Because their effort is grounded in wisdom and right direction, it bears fruit. After death, the Buddha says, such a person is reborn in a good destination. More importantly, even in this life, the seeds of peace and freedom are being planted. This is a practice that hurts now, but heals later. Finally, the Buddha speaks of the fourth kind of practice, one that is pleasant in the present and pleasant in the future. This is the most refined and balanced path. He describes a person who is not strongly driven by passion, aversion, or delusion. Such a person has already developed some inner stability. Freed from coarse sensuality and unskillful states of mind, this person enters deep states of meditation, known as jhanas. The word jhana refers to absorbed states of collected awareness. The Buddha describes these stages as progressively more calm, clear, and balanced. In the first stage, there is joy and ease born from seclusion and simplicity. In the second, thinking quiets down and awareness becomes unified. In the third, excitement softens into calm contentment. In the fourth, even pleasure and pain fade, leaving pure mindfulness and equanimity. These states are not escapism. They are the natural joy that arises when the mind is no longer at war with itself. Because this practice is rooted in wisdom and balance, it is pleasant both now and later. It supports clarity in this life and leads to a fortunate rebirth. This, the Buddha says, is the best kind of taking on a practice. Having explained all four ways, the Buddha concludes, the monks listen attentively and delight in his words, not because they are comforting, but because they are clear. The heart of this teaching is simple and deeply practical. Not all pleasure is equal, and not all pain is meaningful. What matters is understanding the direction our choices are taking us. A small indulgence, left unexamined, can grow like the creeper around the tree. A difficult restraint, undertaken with wisdom, can become a source of future peace. In everyday life, this teaching invites us to pause and ask, what am I taking on right now? Does it only feel good in the moment, or does it also support clarity, kindness, and freedom over time? The Buddha does not ask us to reject pleasure blindly or to seek pain for its own sake. He asks us to look carefully, patiently, and honestly at cause and effect. In doing so, we learn to choose practices that support both present well-being and long-term peace. As we come to the end of this reflection, it may be helpful to pause and consider the central question the Sutta leaves us with. Not just what feels good or bad in the moment, but where our habits and choices are actually leading. The Buddha's teaching here invites discernment rather than judgment, learning to see cause and effect with a steady, honest mind. In daily life, you might experiment with this by noticing one small pattern today. Is it something that brings quick comfort but long-term strain? Or something that asks for patience now, yet supports calm and clarity later? There's no need to force answers. Simply noticing is already part of the practice. If these reflections are useful, you're welcome to return and listen again, or explore other teachings shared here on Still Mind Suttas. Each episode is offered as a quiet space to reflect, to learn, and to continue walking this path with care and curiosity.